This, ladies and gentlemen, is the game-changer policy for our party at this convention. This is the policy that will appeal to freedom of the individual in terms of their purchasing, in terms of their ability to be mobile, whether the individual is a senior or somebody just finishing their university year and wanting to travel in their gap year, or whether it's a young millennial that's looking for global experience for their resume. And on the flip side, for Canadian business that's looking to get the best and brightest talent that they can from anywhere on the planet to catapult our industry here. Lululemon, which is headquartered in Vancouver, has such a big problem with labor mobility justification. Every time one of their executives gets poached by Reebok or by Adidas, they got to go out hunting for a new executive to bring over, and that's very expensive and very time-consuming for them to do. This would allow that labor mobility that we have, and it's a game changer for the party in terms of freedom of business, individual, and mobility.
Thank you. Caucus member, 1 minute.
Thank you very much, Aaron O'Toole. I apologize, I'll stop getting up so often, but I'm passionate about CANZUK. When Brian Mulroney and the Conservative governments negotiated our first major free trade deal with the United States, we still owned Air Canada as a government. There was no internet. Today, trade, mobility, and opportunity for our young people and for Canadians to work, learn, and exchange around the world is the new expectation on trade agreements and international relations. With CANZUK, we can work with countries that we're already in the Five Eyes security partnership with. We already have some trade and mobility agreements with, but we can take it to the next level to show that multilateral organizations can be aspirational, where if you have the rule of law, GDP, respect for rights, the common law system, the ability to support a free market, that you'll work more together. Then we let more and more countries in and revolutionize opportunity with CANZUK. Please support it. Thank you.
Hear, hear.
Thank you. Speaker against?
Thanks, Laurie Honeman, the Senator. And this is a great idea, but for me, it's just way too big, way too difficult to implement. There's a whole lot of things in here that aren't actually done by the federal government, they're done by the provincial governments in terms of credentialing and things like that. Nice idea, but I just think it's way, way too big and would be extremely difficult to implement.
Thank you. Speaker 4.
I'm Ed Fast, former Trade Minister for Canada. There's nothing that's too big for Canada. We are the ones that negotiated CETA, largest trade agreement in the world. We're the ones that negotiated the Trans-Pacific Partnership, which, by the way, includes Australia and New Zealand. Now, can you imagine adding the UK and having the most like-minded partners in the world working together, especially on issues such as mobility, healthcare agreements where you could travel to Australia and know that you could get emergency care there the way they could in Canada. These are the kinds of opportunities that are opened up under CANZUK. I strongly recommend that you support this. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker against, 1 minute.
You're looking at what a shadow cabinet meeting looks like. My concern is, and what I'd want Ed to clarify, is with the labor mobility piece. We just announced policy on Tuesday stating that we would align the economic immigration with labor force needs, and this to me isn't precise on if we'd be prioritizing economic immigration from these countries as opposed to others, and if we have enough information on whether or not Canada's labor needs would be provided from these countries. So yes, nothing is too big for Canada, but details matter, Ed. And that would be my position as immigration shadow minister, is how would you implement labor mobility given credentialing? Laurie raised a good point at the provinces as well as the healthcare component. So maybe agree in principle, but I don't see a lot of details here, Trade Minister.
In favor?
Well, we're in a shadow cabinet meeting, and oftentimes when we deal with policy, I'm John Broussard, Member of Parliament for Barrie Innisfil, and oftentimes when we deal with policy, we do deal at a high level. And I think the proposal of CANZUK and the implementation of it as proposed, will be phased in, and it'll be determined what those priorities are. But I think what Aaron said is extremely important, that these are countries that share the same values and the same principles that we do. Values of democracy, the rule of law, that everybody is treated equally. And so this, to me, is a winning principle of not only conservative values, but also the ability to attract young people to the conservative cause on a particular policy like CANZUK. I can tell you right now that CANZUK International has well over 100,000 young people that follow this debate. This will be an ability for all of us as conservatives to attract those people and come up with a winning policy. So I'm urging all of you to support this policy. Thank you.
Hear, hear.
There is 1 minute for rebuttal. Sir?
Mr. Roy Grinchman for Vancouver. I once again go to the game changer policy. Ladies and gentlemen, besides these four countries having the same head of state, free and fair trade practices, comparable living, social, environmental, and labor standards, they're all part of the Five Eyes security group. They already work tightly together. Free trade is our brand as a party. Competitiveness is a brand as our party. Economic freedom of choice of more goods and services at better prices is the brand of our party. And ladies and gentlemen, this has 238,000 signatures from people who have signed up to the CANZUK International site. Just imagine if we can outreach to those people after this meeting by doing the secondary tour with Aaron O'Toole, who brought this forward during the CPC leadership debate, and all of our Chabonneau cabinet, inviting those 238,000 people to events about CANZUK, and they become our ambassadors for the party, whether they're blue, orange, green, or red. This is a game changer.
Thank you.
We need this to
You know, I'm going to do something a little bit different now. Thank you. Why don't we move directly to the vote? I'm trying to avoid the back and forth. I know it might be a little bit confusing. I'll try to remember to hold the vote and then tell you the results of the previous one so that we know exactly what we're voting. Does that seem better? A little bit? Okay. Good. So we're going to vote now on the debate that has just finished on Resolution 9, Foreign Affairs. All those in favor, please raise your cards.